What's up, everybody? JoDobbi here. I've got some spice for y'all today. It is Black Megidramon Gallantmon. Now, I know what you're thinking. What? But it actually works. So, here we go. Start off with the eggs. We got 1 copy of Kapurimon and 4 copies of this new Pagumon, which is actually really strong. Helps Black unbrick. On deletion, you can reveal the top card of your deck and then add a Black Digimon card if it is a Black Digimon card. Otherwise, it goes straight back to the bottom. Kapurimon, on your turn, while a Digimon has blocker, it gets an additional 1000 DP. So I really just added this egg just to have that extra draw. But it's come up quite a bit in testing, where like I'll have to swing and then it's gotten over security really early and it's pretty good. So into the rookies, I love this Agumon so much. All turns while this Digimon has blocker, it gets plus 1000 DP, which I think is super strong. It gets all of my blockers that extra DP boost to make it even more intimidating, especially when you pair it with the Black Memory Tie Tamers. Next, we are running 4 copies of this Junkmon. I love it. It's the Sukaimon of Black, and it has ended many a turn because on deletion, just gain 1 memory. So if you absolutely have to block and lose your Digimon, at least you get a memory out of it. You can potentially end your opponent's turn that way, and it's a very, very good card. Next, the MVP rookie of my lineup, 3 copies of Chikorymon. Chicory. From security, you get to D-Digivolve 1, and I think it has come in so clutch. Sometimes you can D-Digivolve a Craniumon that just sits there when something else swings, and then go full offensive. Otherwise, you're D-Digivolving big megas. You're D-Digivolving Agumon Bond, Gabumon Bond, Jesmon. Beautiful card in security. Otherwise, you just evo over it, and it's not even a big deal. I love the 3 of. And last but not least, I am not never sparked without Chumon. Okay, so Chumon right here, 1k DP, just prevents your opponents from gaining memory apart from their tamer effects. So very good at shutting down memory boosts or any other memory gaining things that are not tamer related. And now we're gonna go into our level 4s, and you're gonna notice something in our level 4s here that makes this deck quite unique. So for our level 4s, we've got 4 copies of Dark Tyrannomon, the 5k DP blocker that is a 1 cost to evo. Very good for turboing up if you absolutely have to, and that's why I love the dude. Next, we've got 3 copies of Sealsdramon. This D-Brigade Digimon is a 6k DP blocker, and it's 2 cost 5 to hard play. Not too bad at all, but I just needed an extra blocker in the 4 slot that could potentially swing for game, and that's why I added him there. Next, we're running the MVP of this deck at stalling your opponents. 3 copies of Mechanorimon. You put an Agumon under this thing and it is 7k. And you put as many memory ties as you want, and it could go up to 9, 10k potentially. I'll let you know how that works. A 10k Mechanorimon is a scary Mechanorimon, because it can just unsuspend during your opponent's turn every time you delete a Digimon, which is obviously through blocking. Next, we've got 2 copies of Gardramon. Gardramon is underplayed right now, but I love it in this deck because all my level 4s are blockers. Their job is to literally stall you out until I get to my 6s, because that is the win condition. And this Digimon can't attack, but it's a 7k DP blocker for a level 4, which means with Agumon, it's 8k, and with ties it could go to 9, 10, 11k, trading with every level 5 in the game and megas. I do really like that. Takes some setting up to get to that high DP, but usually if you can get to 8, 9k, you're already in a very good spot going into the level 5s. 4 copies of Rebellimon. This is the main bridge to getting into Megidramon. In addition to that, it adds another level of stall because when Digivolving, if you trash a card from your hand, you actually gain blocker retaliation. In addition to that, guys, you're trashing your Gallantmons, which allows you to set up Megidramon much quicker. which is really awesome because if you're not decking your opponent out, you're setting up a Gallantmon to swing face if they delete the Megidramon. And your Megidramon is just gonna non-stop swing here because if it dies in security, you're gonna bring out a Gallant anyway, so who cares? Next, level 5s here, we're running 4 copies of Gigadramon. At first, I was running Megidramon, but then I realized the Megidramon at 11k, it's fine. It doesn't need to go into 13k to swing into security because it wants to get deleted anyway. And I found that Gigadramon is a better bridge to other megas in the deck, and it works off the Pagumon egg. So Megidramon does not work off the Pagumon egg because it is actually a red Digimon when it is anywhere else but in play. So that is why I run it. And on your opponent's turn, it's 13k DP, which means that you get to decide when your Megidramon dies, and that's going to be in security or trading with other Digimon, instead of your opponent getting to successfully swing over it or potentially pierce over it or anything like that. In addition to that, the Gigadramon is also a good bridge into the Gallantmons as well. And that protects the Gallantmons because it makes the Gallantmon 13k on your opponent's turn. Next, we're going into the Megas. We've got 3 copies of Megidramon. Okay, I butchered that, but whatever. So Megidramon, when digivolving, both players trash the top 5 cards of their deck. I do not mind that. I'm not digivolving nearly as much as other decks, which is why that is fine by me. I don't deck out as quickly as others. I don't draw as much as other decks. And if I can trash the Gallantmons, I'm in a good spot, especially with a Tamer out, because on deletion, Megidramon reads if you have a Tamer in play, you can play a Gallantmon from trash without paying its cost. You can cheat out another level 6, which is insane. Next, we are running 3 copies of the starter deck Gallantmon. So I was playing around between the BT2 Gallantmon and the structure deck Gallantmons and the ratios. 2-2 is fine, but I found 3-1 to be much better because this Gallantmon can delete rookies, good against Aguban decks. In addition to that, it's got security attack +1, and if you don't delete anything, this is a 14k swing, 2 checks into security. So if you are not trashing your opponent's deck through Megidramon, if you don't have a Tamer out yet, you can digivolve into Gallantmon, apply early pressure, and then close out later on. If your opponent deletes the Gallantmon, who cares again? Because we've got Megidramon. So it doesn't feel bad losing Megas in this deck at all, guys, because I can literally just play them back from trash, which is amazing. Next, we are running 1 copy of the BT2 Gallantmon, as I had stated earlier. When digivolving, its effect is kind of negligible. I don't run any red Tamers. I've considered running maybe 2 red ties that just add DP boost, but I find there is another tie that is much more worth it, and I'll show you in the end. But when attacking, trash one of your opponent's security cards for every 10 cards you have in trash. So your Megidramon, your opponent's 10 cards in trash. So Megidramon can get your opponent to like 10, 15 cards in trash pretty quickly, and they organically end up trashing things through your removal, or if you're swinging over things, so you can build their trash for them. And then if you're at 20 cards in trash, if the game goes really late, you can play Gallantmon from trash with Megidramon, and then swing in, trashing their 2 security, and then having a successful swing for game potentially if they don't have a blocker. It's a very good way to close out, but only one of is good enough for me because I only really need the 1. Next, the tech cards. I'm running 1 copy of Zwart Defeat and 1 copy of Alteress. So Zwart Defeat goes over the Megidramon if I absolutely need to kill a Tamer, and Alteress goes over the Gallantmon when I need to wipe a board. So these are just the text choices that I have here for Omnis, and I haven't really found value in them. They could be subbed out for something else because Megidramon and Gallantmon, they generally their effects are good enough to just want to stay on the board for you. So that's kind of why I don't mind switching them out eventually. Getting into our options, running 1 copy of Javolchvormer because once you're at your Megidramon, you can wipe both boards without feeling bad at all. In addition to that, it's just so good. You just wipe your opponent's board because it deletes all Digimon with a play cost of 7 or less, leaving only your Megidramon or your Gallantmon. And sometimes if your opponent has to delete that, they give you that memory right back, which doesn't feel bad. 1 copy of Ultimate Flare, debating as to whether I want to run 2, but 1 copy for now. D-Digivolve 3 on a Digimon, great for the Craniamon matchup, or any other Digimon like decks that have to go up in the stack, because it just shuts that right down. And it deletes everything with a play cost of 3 or less, which is a lot of the Agus and Gabus in these Bond decks. Next, running 2 copies of Iron Fisted Onslaught. Once again, just hard removal. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon with a highest play cost. Triggers insecurity like Ultimate Flare, so it's a very, very good card as well. Lastly, we're going into our Tamers because I absolutely need to see Tamers. I'm actually running 4. So here's 3 copies of Tai Kamiya, and this is insane because I just need to see 2 to get Mechanori to 8k, for example, and with an Agumon, I get Mechanori to 9k. So at the very least, I want to see 1 Tai by turn 3. So because of that, I need to play 3 so I can see it as often as possible. If it triggers insecurity, it never feels bad as well because I like to have a wide board of blockers. The only thing that could really take me out is another Javolt, which is going to be unfortunate, but if you're forcing your opponent to play Javolt instead of Fly Bullet or anything like that, in Musketeer matchup, you're able to provide more aggression with Gallantmons and Megidramons. And last but not least, this Tai. This Tai tends to be overlooked a lot, but it's pretty good. On your opponent's turn, when you use Blocker to suspend one of your Digimon, you can tap Tai to unsuspend another Digimon. So you can actually unsuspend any Digimon of any color. It doesn't actually have to be a blocker. So if you have a Gallantmon that is suspended, you can block, right? If your opponent has 2 swings and they both are going to swing for the Gallantmon, what you can do is declare block on one of your blockers, tap Tai to unsuspend the Gallantmon. And now that other Digimon that would have swing over your Gallant can't because it's unsuspended. So unless they use Judgment of the Blade or whatever, they're not going to be able to do it. And that's why I find this card very clutch sometimes. You can find niche plays like that that make it absolutely insane. But that is the Megidramon deck, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. And if you like the YouTube videos and whatnot, don't forget to like and subscribe. Till then, peace.